But in the world of cleaning, the carpet cleaner is the one who gets called for everything. They're like the fire department. If it doesn't run from you or shoot at you, the carpet cleaner goes. So I remember early in my career that I got called out to clean up a situation where a lady had put her hand out to steady herself and went through the window and cut her all the way up into her armpit and almost bled out on the floor. Well, I was a commissioned carpet cleaner, and they're like, "Hey, Mikey, do you want to go?" I was like, that's an old commercial. Probably most people aren't going to know what it is.
Yeah. Welcome to Beyond Clean with Ace. In the world of commercial cleaning, whether you're new to the industry or a seasoned professional, you know we're all more than just toilets, windows, and floors. We're just like everyone else with diverse interests in everything. Now in Season 10, tens of thousands have discovered engaging and thoughtful knowledge that's truly game-changing at Beyond Clean with Ace. Whether you're a facility manager, a frontline staff member, or a building services contractor, we're here to help you grow personally and professionally. So hit that subscribe button and share with others. We're all about enhancing lives in healthy, positive, and proactive ways. So join me, Dave Thompson, Director of the Academy of Cleaning Excellence, your host at Beyond Clean with Ace.
Hello, everyone. Dave Thompson here, and we're running another episode of Beyond Clean with Ace. But you see, we got something special we're talking about today. It's not the normal, cleaning that we usually talk about, trauma and crime scene. Now, hey, one thing I do know, unfortunately, there is a lot of business here because you hear it on the news every day. I've got two people going to come on here and talk to us about this. We're hosting a special class this year, and they're going to come on here, tell you more about it. I'm going to shut up. Let's listen to them. Here they are. Husband and wife, I'm going to assume.
Thank you for that assumption. Yes.
Almost 5 years now. We're getting close. It's been a ride. We've enjoyed working together pretty much the whole time. So it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so I believe, Rachel, you're going to be coming down here to do the class in September with us. Can we open up with that?
I am really looking forward to coming down there and spending some time and talking about some of these subjects that can be a little bit challenging, a little interesting, a little exciting. People get into doing this kind of work for so many different reasons, but in class, we like to kind of pull it all together and give a more organized view of what to expect, the things to pay attention to, what you got to watch out for.
Rashelle, I mean, we're not going to be slinging blood on the walls and having somebody spew on the couch or anything, right?
Well, I don't think we're going to this time.
Oh, gee.
One day. There's ways of doing that, but no, for this class, we're just going to spend our time in the classroom. There will be some photographs and some video of real projects and things where we can go in and we can figure out, hey, if you walked into this room, if you walked into this home, how can you approach it? Starting always with safety, moving into figuring out what is your scope of work. We don't get into the business side a whole lot, but you do have to think about who's going to pay you, how are you going to get paid, and some really potentially awkward conversations with people that are really upset.
Okay, so I'm going to come over to you, Mark, because I got a feeling that you've done some of this too. I'm thinking I got to have pretty good, I can't be real queamish when I talk about this, right?
Now that's Dave. It's a very interesting topic. I've actually had students attend a class, and you mentioned about blood and stuff like that. But depending upon what's going on, we will do a 3-day class where we will actually make it like a realistic scene. And there's a few people go ahead, yeah. And it is food grade blood and food grade brains and that kind of stuff. Every once in a while, you'll have someone who tries to cram, a little bit of hands-on with, simulated blood into a 2-day class. It's just not enough time. But as far as the subject matter goes, I've actually had a couple of students, one of which was in Australia, that just after being involved with doing the hands-on part of it, he was like, this isn't for me. He said, I'm glad I took the class, but this is not a field I'm going to get into. Because Dave, really one of the biggest hazards, I mean, yeah, you can talk about hepatitis C and HIV and all of the things that can really make you sick. But one of the biggest hazards is the psychological side of things. It's something that can get a hold of you, and it can bring you to your knees. And that's something that, you talked about safety, but if you're going to get into this line of work, you need to have some kind of a debrief, some kind of how you're going to handle the stress of dealing with it, because you're dealing with people in their worst moment of their lives.
So I'm thinking that maybe we need a prerequisite course before we come to this. Is there anything? Let's start talking about people that say, okay, sounds like a good way to make some new revenue. What should I know? How do I prepare?
Well, there aren't any formal prerequisites for this course, but we are building on information from standards. The IICRC S540 is the standard that we use for gathering some of the information that we're talking about here, and becoming familiar with some of the industry expectations for what you do can be a great place to start. It's not going to tell you how to do the work. The standards are not there to give you a step 1 through step 5. But what they are going to line out is principles, ways of thinking. What is the outcome that we're supposed to get to? And so the course gives us the opportunity to weave in industry standard along with, now we can talk about how we're going to do the work. What are some of those steps? Where do you start when you process a project?
I mean, I teach people, I've been in the cleaning industry side of things for 55 years. You said something about how to get paid. I'm thinking, I got to know how to bid this, how to get paid, what equipment. We're going to cover some of that, right?
Well, we're mostly going to cover equipment, process, safety. Can't talk about it without touching on the business side of it. That's not really going to be the focus in this course. We have 2 days. We have 2 days to get through a lot of material, but it is something, especially since we're going to be in person, in a real room together where we can have real conversations, that there's a little bit of flexibility about how we process through the course material. We have things we have to talk about, and then we can individualize the course a little bit based on who's there and the questions that they have.
Mark, you did mention 2 days versus 3 days. We chose to do the 2-day first, simply to kind of gauge our clientele here in Orlando and the down here. You're in Atlanta, I remember, right?
Correct. Yeah, we actually have a facility in Norcross, Georgia, but we always say Atlanta because a lot of times you mention Canton or Woodstock, people they have no idea what you're talking about. So, but the 3-day thing, and Dave, I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Rashelle was talking about, and you said about getting paid. Unfortunately, a lot of people do jump into this business because of the glamour. They watch a lot of forensics files, 48 hours or true crime, and they go, oh, that looks like that'd be a sexy way to make a bunch of money. And the next thing you know, they get into it and they realize that it's not quite what they thought. We will talk about some of the equipment and some of the tools. Rashelle will go over some of that. A lot of that stuff will probably be available, at your facility. Right. The only thing we don't really get into a whole bunch is pricing, because legally, we can't get into talking about what you should be charging for something, because there's antitrust laws about that. But that's what a software program like Xactimate or one of those things where they have some suggested price codes that come into play. But unfortunately, a lot of people do get into it, in my opinion, for the wrong reason, and that they think that it's going to be a good money-making revenue stream, and you can make good money. But there's a lot to think about in this other than just the money.
Rachel, then I'm going to come back to you. Who should come to this class? Who should be in front of you for 2 days? And is this simply contractors, or is there in-house operations that need this? I don't know.
Well, with pretty much a lot of the courses, I really love it when we get administrative staff, when you get salespeople, obviously frontline personnel who are actually going to be doing the hands-on work. But when you are the person answering the phone, when you are having to deal with customers and understand what your core business is actually doing, those people need to take the courses as well. Sometimes, as Mark said a minute ago, part of what this does is say, wait a minute, we're not ready for this. This is not a business that we want to be in. But I have had people in the class all the way from a full service restoration company to people trying to break into the business and get into something interesting and different, as well as auto detailers. We've had people come in and say, we get lots of calls because things happen in automobiles, things happen in interesting places. So anybody who's already doing the work and maybe has some gaps in knowledge and wants a little more formal training, to people who are going, hey, is this even something that I want to get into? Everybody's welcome.
You know, I think what you said there is interesting, because my 2 different times in my past career that I had an introduction to this, which I did not follow on, was vehicles where a suicide had happened in a vehicle, and they said, we're going to tow it to this place. We want you to clean it up. And I'm like, I took one look and said, no. Is this, I mean, who are you going to go through who we're talking to? Where do these opportunities come from?
We touch on it a little bit, once again, because we can't get into the business development side as strictly. But you start thinking about who knows about the job. The coroner knows about the job. The auto dealership might find out about the job. The city might know about the job. But there are so many conflicts of interest where people can't refer you work for ethical reasons that you got to be careful when you market. And that's something that we have to think about as well. I can't pay a fireman for a lead. Yeah, they know something happened, but when I pay them, that's an ethical problem. So my theme for this class, and it always comes down to it, is be a good person, because we have so many opportunities in this industry. We're dealing with people on the worst day of their lives. We have opportunities to make really inappropriate and bad choices. And it really comes down to, you have to, within yourself, do the right thing. But people don't always realize where some of these conflicts might come up.
Mark, I'm going to come back to you for just a moment. If I think about this, hang on, there it is. Okay. So who are we throwing this out to? Who's the best target that's listening today going, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't? Who should be making this decision right now?
So Dave, I'm glad you came back to that comment, because you've got me a few years on being in the business. I'm coming up on 44 years in the cleaning and restoration industry. I started cleaning carpet at 13. But in the world of cleaning, the carpet cleaner is the one who gets called for everything. They're like the fire department. If it doesn't run from you or shoot at you, the carpet cleaner goes. So I remember early in my career that I got called out to clean up a situation where a lady had put her hand out to steady herself and went through the window and cut her all the way up into her armpit and almost bled out on the floor. Well, I was a commissioned carpet cleaner, and they're like, hey, Mikey, do you want to go? I was like, that's an old commercial. Probably most people aren't even going to know what it is. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'll go clean it up. And that was my very first trauma cleanup. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I guess I did a good job because no one complained about an odor. But carpet cleaners are the ones who get called in. And unfortunately, carpet cleaners don't realize the problems. I mean, just from simple pet urine, what they could be exposed to. Now we're talking about all kinds of stuff that could be in human blood. So there's a wide range of people. Firefighters, police officers get into it because they're a little bit more battle hardened.
Right.
Carpet cleaners kind of get sucked into it, pardon the pun, they think that they can clean everything, and they need to, they're going to get a lot of these calls, and they should know how to handle it right. So there's a wide range of people who should take this class. But I think carpet cleaners is a big avenue of people that should be in these classes.
I'm thinking here, folks, whenever I look at these three here, and folks, I'm just going to put this up here. When you look at this guy right here, with all this stuff on there, it takes me back to my one really bad case. I was in my 20s. We were cleaning rental houses and we couldn't find the smell. I went into the basement. It was so bad. I went and got an oxygen tank from the rental store, went in and found 2 dead bodies. You know what? It changed the way I did a lot of things and looked at things. I'm kind of interested in bringing this here. We get this question quite often. So folks, if you've been listening to this podcast, watching it on YouTube, this class right here, September the 29th and 30th, right here in Orlando. Rashelle, you're going to come down here and teach the class. Mark's our technical advisor in the background.
That's pretty much the way it's going to work on this one. We share a lot of things, but we do have to take turns. And so it's my turn to go to Florida.
Okay. Well, in September, let's see, that's still pretty hot.
Well, it'll be okay. I might sneak in a couple extra days on vacation too, but Mark can be back at the hotel room getting ready for it, right? There you go.
I'll probably be teaching a class in another location though, Dave, but that's okay.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate you guys being here with me and talking through this. We're excited to have this here. Folks, as you have seen already, we've been trying a lot of these ICRC classes to basically augment the academy classes that we already have and do every month. We only bring these in once in a while. So it's open right now. You can sign up. There's an early bird discount that you can get if you sign up now. We're taping this here in the 1st of June. So you've got some good time to get in. We do max out. So the early bird gets the worm, as they say. Guys, thanks for being on. We'll see you, Rachel, here in just a few months.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.